Imagine you're crouched in a shallow cave watching the entrance turn into a waterfall. It's been raining for 5 straight days, and you can't remember what dry feels like anymore. Your animal skin clothing is soaked through and starting to rot against your skin. The smell is making you gag. Your children are shivering uncontrollably, their lips blue from cold. The meat you killed before this nightmare started is beginning to spoil in the constant dampness. Your fire is dying. The wood you gathered is soaked. The smoke has nowhere to go except back into your lungs, making you cough until your chest burns. Outside, you can hear the river rising, getting closer to your shelter with each hour. And somewhere in the darkness beyond the cave entrance, you can hear breathing that isn't human. Other animals are seeking the same dry spaces you are, and some of them view you as dinner. You have no idea when this rain will stop. No weather forecast. No understanding of storm patterns. For all you know, this could last weeks. Other families in nearby caves have gone silent. Some caves are flooding, and every hour that passes, your chances of survival drop a little more. But here's what should terrify you most. You can't leave. Can't hunt. Can't gather food. Can't do anything except sit in this smoke-filled cave and wait while your world slowly drowns around you. You're not camping. You're not weathering a storm. You're trapped in a survival crisis that could kill you in a dozen different ways before the sun ever shines again. Today, when it rains for a week, you binge Netflix, order takeout, and complain about the weather on social media. You adjust your thermostat, make hot chocolate, and enjoy the cozy indoor atmosphere. Rain becomes white noise that helps you sleep. But for a human being 40,000 years ago, that same week-long rain was psychological torture, combined with multiple simultaneous threats that could wipe out your entire lineage. The peaceful sound that helps you fall asleep was the soundtrack to humanity's most desperate survival challenges. Recent archaeological discoveries are revealing that extended rainy periods weren't just inconveniences for ancient humans. They were evolutionary pressure cookers that forced technological innovations, social developments, and cultural breakthroughs that built the foundation of human civilization. What did ancient humans actually do when trapped for days in smoke-filled caves while the world outside tried to kill them? How did they survive psychological ordeals that would break most modern people? And why did some groups emerge from week-long rain stronger, while others never emerged at all? Extended rainfall represented a perfect storm of survival threats that attacked ancient humans from every direction simultaneously. Understanding how they survived requires grasping the complete cascade of dangers that week-long rain unleashed. The first threat was hypothermia. Wet human skin loses heat up to 25 times faster than dry skin. Without waterproof clothing or heated shelters, ancient humans in soaked animal hides faced core temperature drops that could kill them within hours, even in relatively mild weather. Archaeological sites across Europe show evidence of ancient human occupation during periods that climate data indicates had sustained rainfall lasting 2 to 3 weeks. The Abric Romani site in Spain contains hearth layers from 40,000 years ago that show intensive fire use during extended wet periods, suggesting ancient humans understood the life or death importance of staying warm and dry. But cold was only the beginning. Extended rain created flash flood conditions that could turn safe caves into death traps within minutes. Archaeological evidence from multiple sites shows flood layers inside occupied caves, indicating that ancient humans sometimes had water rushing into their shelters while they lived there. The Kafze cave in Israel contains flood deposits mixed with human artifacts, suggesting that ancient humans had to abandon shelter areas during storms and retreat to higher sections of caves. Some sites show evidence that caves were never reoccupied after major flood events. Entire locations became permanently uninhabitable. The third threat was predator compression. Rain didn't just trap humans in caves, it forced every animal in the region into the same limited dry spaces. Lions, leopards, hyenas, and other predators all sought shelter during extended storms, often in the same cave systems that humans occupied. Archaeological sites in South Africa contain mixed human and predator remains from the same time periods, with some human skulls showing bite marks that match leopard dentition perfectly. These weren't hunting accidents. They were encounters in shared shelters where humans and predators found themselves trapped together. The Gladysvale cave site contains evidence of ancient humans and saber-toothed cats using the same shelter areas during overlapping time periods. Tool marks on animal bones suggest humans had to fight for control of cave spaces that predators also claimed during storms. But perhaps the most terrifying aspect of extended rain was fire management under impossible conditions. Archaeological evidence suggests that most ancient humans couldn't reliably start fires from scratch. Controlling existing fire and creating new fire were completely different skill sets, and for most of human history, Losing your fire meant potential death for your entire group. When Ötzi the Iceman was discovered, his 5,300-year-old equipment included a complete fire maintenance kit, tinder fungus, flint, iron pyrite, and backup materials. Even thousands of years after the development of fire-starting technology, maintaining fire was still considered so crucial that people carried specialized equipment to prevent fire loss. During week-long rains, fire management became a life-or-death specialty, requiring constant attention and increasingly scarce resources. Ancient humans had to move fires deeper into caves, shield flames with hides and vegetation, and find dry fuel in completely soaked landscapes. Archaeological analysis of Paleolithic hearths shows evidence of sophisticated wet weather fire techniques, including elevated burning platforms, strategic airflow management, and specialized fuel preparation methods designed to maintain flames during extended damp periods. The Grotte 16 site in France contains 45,000-year-old hearth structures with stone windscreens and elevated fire platforms that allowed flames to survive in high-humidity cave environments. These weren't simple campfires. They were engineered heating systems designed for survival during extended bad weather. Finding dry fuel during week-long rains required botanical knowledge that modern people rarely possess. Ancient humans learned to identify trees with natural rain protection, locate dead branches still sheltered under canopies, split wet logs to access dry wood inside, and use specific bark types that burned even when damp. Birch bark contains betulin, a chemical that ignites and burns even when wet. Fatwood from pine trees contains concentrated resins that burn despite moisture. Archaeological sites across northern Europe show evidence that ancient humans specifically collected and cached these specialized burning materials for use during extended rainy periods. But keeping fire alive was only one component of surviving week-long entrapment. Ancient humans also had to solve the problem of maintaining nutrition when hunting and gathering became impossible. Food procurement stopped entirely during extended rain. Tracking became impossible when mud washed away animal signs. Movement across wet terrain risked injuries that meant death in prehistoric conditions. Ancient humans had to survive on whatever food they had stored before storms hit, with no knowledge of how long supplies needed to last. Archaeological evidence from multiple Paleolithic sites shows sophisticated food storage systems specifically designed for surviving extended bad weather. Underground caches, elevated storage platforms, and early preservation techniques all indicate that successful ancient humans planned for week-long confinement periods. The Dolní Věstonice site in the Czech Republic contains 26,000-year-old evidence of systematic food storage, including underground pits lined with stones, elevated drying platforms, and what appears to be early smoking and preservation facilities designed to maintain food supplies during extended shelter periods. But stored food created new problems during humid, confined conditions. Meat spoiled rapidly in damp caves. Plant foods became moldy or waterlogged. Even water became contaminated as runoff carried pathogens into previously clean sources. Archaeological analysis of ancient food remains shows that prehistoric humans developed techniques for managing food spoilage, including strategic consumption sequences, preservation methods, and food safety practices that prevented poisoning during extended confinement. Asterisks subscribe now to discover how rainy day innovations changed human civilization forever. The most remarkable aspect of ancient human rain survival was how they transformed enforced idleness into humanity's most productive technological development periods. Archaeological evidence shows that caves and rock shelters contain the most sophisticated manufacturing evidence from the entire Paleolithic period. Extended rain created the first dedicated manufacturing seasons in human history. With hunting and gathering impossible, ancient humans spent days or weeks focused entirely on tool production, equipment maintenance, and technological innovation. The Blombos Cave in South Africa contains 100,000-year-old evidence of intensive tool manufacturing, including specialized knapping areas, ochre processing workshops, and bone tool production facilities. The concentration and sophistication of manufacturing evidence suggests these activities occurred during extended periods when outdoor activities were impossible. Stone tool production during rain confinement shows evidence of remarkable technological advancement. Archaeological sites contain tools in every stage of production, from raw material selection through final finishing, indicating that ancient humans used rain periods for systematic tool manufacturing and quality improvement. But tool-making was only the beginning. Archaeological evidence shows that extended rain periods enabled the development of some of humanity's most revolutionary technologies. Textile production appears to have developed during rain confinement periods when ancient humans had time for the slow, repetitive work required to create sewn clothing. Bone needles first appear in the archaeological record around 61,000 years ago, representing precision tools that required hours of focused manufacturing time. The Hohlefels cave in Germany contains 35,000-year-old evidence of rope-making technology, including specialized tools with spiral grooves designed for twisting plant fibers into cord. Making rope requires patience, repetitive motion, and extended time periods, exactly the conditions that week-long rains provided. Rope technology revolutionized ancient human capabilities by enabling sophisticated shelter construction, tool hafting, trap building, and equipment binding. Archaeological evidence suggests that most advanced Paleolithic technologies depended on cordage that was almost certainly developed during rain confinement periods. But the most unexpected innovation enabled by rain confinement was advanced comfort technology. Archaeological sites show evidence that ancient humans used extended cave occupation periods to develop sophisticated living improvements, including bedding systems, ventilation management, and even pest control. The Sibudu Cave in South Africa contains 77,000-year-old bedding made from carefully selected plant materials, including natural insect repellent species. These sleeping systems were periodically burned and replaced, indicating that ancient humans developed systematic hygiene and comfort management during extended cave occupation. Archaeological evidence of cave modifications, including airflow improvements, storage areas, and designated activity zones, suggests that ancient humans systematically upgraded their shelters during rain periods, transforming temporary refuges into comfortable long-term living spaces. The social dynamics of week-long rain confinement created unprecedented opportunities for cultural development that may have enabled the emergence of complex human societies. Forced cohabitation in small spaces for extended periods required sophisticated conflict resolution, resource sharing, and group organization systems. Archaeological evidence suggests that successful rain survival groups developed complex social protocols that prevented the group breakdown that would doom everyone. But rain confinement also created the social conditions necessary for the most important development in human history: complex language and cultural transmission. Modern anthropological studies show that confined groups spend dramatically more time in conversation and storytelling compared to normal daily activities. Week-long rain periods would have created extended opportunities for knowledge sharing, skill teaching, and cultural development that weren't available during normal survival activities. The development of complex storytelling, cultural memory systems, and educational practices all appear to be connected to periods when ancient humans had extended time for social interaction without survival distractions. Archaeological evidence of symbolic behavior, artistic production, and cultural complexity increases dramatically at sites that show evidence of extended occupation periods, suggesting that rain confinement may have been crucial for the development of advanced human culture. Cave art represents the most dramatic evidence of rain period cultural development. The world's most sophisticated prehistoric art appears in deep cave chambers that could only be accessed and worked in during extended periods when surface activities were impossible. The Chauvet Cave in France contains 36,000-year-old paintings that show remarkable artistic sophistication, including anatomical accuracy, movement representation, and perspective techniques that required extensive observation and practice. Creating these artworks required weeks of dedicated effort in challenging underground conditions. Lascaux, Altamira, and dozens of other cave art sites across Europe, Africa, and Asia all show evidence of intensive artistic production that occurred in deep cave chambers, accessible only during extended cave occupation periods. These artworks weren't simple decoration. They represented sophisticated information storage systems that preserved hunting knowledge, animal behavior observations, and cultural information across generations. The storytelling traditions that developed during rain confinement created some of the most durable cultural achievements in human history. Australian Aboriginal oral traditions include stories that accurately describe geological events from over 7,000 years ago, preserved entirely through storytelling systems that developed during extended group confinement periods. Archaeological evidence suggests that rain confinement periods became the primary times when cultural knowledge was transmitted between generations, when complex stories were developed and refined, and when group cultural identity was strengthened through shared narrative experiences. But extended rain periods also provided unexpected survival advantages that ancient humans learned to exploit systematically. Post-rain conditions created some of the best tracking opportunities in the natural world. Soft ground preserved perfect animal tracks, showing species, direction, timing, and behavior information that enabled highly successful hunting immediately after storms ended. Rain collection and storage systems appear in archaeological contexts around the world, suggesting that ancient humans understood how to use rainfall for water security rather than just enduring it as a threat. Post-rain food availability included mushroom blooms, easily dug tubers in soft soil, and surface insect activity that provided high-quality nutrition opportunities immediately after storms ended. Archaeological evidence suggests that successful ancient human groups developed systematic post-rain activity protocols that maximize the opportunities created by storm conditions. Termite swarms after tropical rains provided massive protein harvesting opportunities that required no tools or hunting skills. Archaeological sites in Africa show evidence of intensive termite collection activities that coincided with post-rain periods. Plant growth explosions following rain created abundant gathering opportunities that ancient humans clearly understood and exploited. Archaeological evidence shows systematic collection of post-rain plant foods, including fresh shoots, easily accessed roots, and seasonal fruiting that followed storm periods. The legacy of ancient rain survival extends far beyond prehistoric archaeology into the foundations of modern human capabilities and cultural practices. Human psychological resilience during confinement appears to be directly connected to evolutionary adaptations that developed during hundreds of thousands of years of rain survival challenges. Modern humans retain remarkable abilities to maintain mental health and productivity during isolation compared to other social species. Technological innovation under resource constraints, one of humanity's most distinctive capabilities, appears to trace its origins back to the necessity of developing new solutions during rain. Confinement when normal survival strategies became impossible. The human capacity for long-term planning, resource stockpiling, and systematic preparation all reflect cognitive adaptations that evolved specifically for surviving unpredictable weather challenges that could last for extended periods. Modern human preferences for enclosed warm spaces during bad weather follow psychological patterns that developed over millions of years of rain survival experiences. Even contemporary responses to extended bad weather, including increased social interaction, creative activities, and project-focused behavior, mirror the survival strategies that ancient humans developed during week-long rain confinement. The next time you spend a rainy week indoors, remember that you're experiencing a pale echo of one of the most challenging survival scenarios ancient humans regularly faced. Your comfortable house, reliable heating, stored food, and entertainment options represent luxuries that would seem miraculous to ancestors who survived weeks trapped in smoke-filled caves with dwindling supplies and no certainty that the rain would ever stop. Every modern convenience that makes rainy weather pleasant was paid for by hundreds of thousands of years of desperate innovation during rain confinement periods when ancient humans had nothing to do except create solutions with their bare hands or die. The technologies they developed, the social systems they created, and the cultural practices they established during those desperate weeks became the foundation for everything that makes modern civilization possible. Ancient humans trapped in caves by relentless rain couldn't have known they were developing the technological, social, and cultural innovations that would eventually enable their descendants to build weatherproof homes, predict storm patterns, and transform rainy days into opportunities for rest and creativity. They were just trying to keep their fires alive, their families fed, and their sanity intact until the endless rain finally stopped, and they could step back into a world that might look completely different than when they'd taken shelter. But their desperate innovations during humanity's most challenging weather became the foundation for technologies that eventually gave humans control over weather itself, one rain-soaked, smoke-filled creative day at a time.